We are live. Excellent. So, jumping on the lives. This is where I kind of share some things that I've kind of seen this week. And one of the things I've been explaining to clients, I've done some videos on this and I just wanted to share. We need to adapt. AI is here, and you've probably heard it. I know there's a lot of resistance out there to AI, but if you're running a business, you can use AI to your advantage. And there's a number of different ways that we could use AI to our advantage. But I want to park that for a second. Let's jump into Google Ads. Now, I like to, when you become a client of mine, I am very transparent. I like to keep you as a client. I like to educate you on best practices, not just for Google, but we look at everything. We look at a number of different things across different platforms and best ways to optimize your business, to take it from where it is to realistically moving forward, realistic steps, not what you see posted on certain channels in regards to I can triple your sales in 30 days and all this type of thing. Reality, it doesn't happen very often. And when we do, we'll take that case study and we'll post it. A lot of the environment is fake, untrue. And how do I know that? Because I audit enough accounts to see how other companies set up, say as an example, Google Ads, and there's just a lack of understanding how to best practice. So let's talk about what's working right now. If you're advertising or an advertiser, you should be thinking about what's happening right now in Google Ads. Lots of changes. One thing that you should be implementing, something we've done since last year, because we actually run Google Ad accounts and we see the data. So if we're seeing the data, we can then make better informed decisions. Now, what am I talking about? With Google is creating an environment, you probably don't know, but if you did, then Google's creating an environment in which we have to use broad terms. And we get this information from the AI overview. So what is an AI overview? When you do a Google search, now you'll see AI overview. And the data coming back from Google is that with AI overviews, we're seeing sort of 30 to 40% less clicks coming through. So what that means for you as an advertiser, you need to adapt how you advertise. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is because I'm seeing a lot of advertisers still using phrase match. And I would say to you, if phrase is working, then keep it. But I would look to do what I'm about to tell you, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. So Google's creating the environment. We have to use broad. Now, the way we could potentially, there's three ways we could potentially add this strategy. You can use broad keywords, so broad terms that you're targeting as broad. So you've got exact phrase and broad. Performance max campaigns, and then potentially you can use AI max. Now, I'm not a fan of AI max right now, only because we've tried it. It hasn't worked. But you know, in 3 months, in 6 months, potentially AI max might be a good one of the offerings that Google offers that we potentially could use. But right now, it's just not working. And believe me, I use all of AI. I love it. I use it in my workflows. We can get so much more done. But AI max right now, I would avoid it. That's all I'm saying for that. So that leaves us with two options. We can use performance max, which is another option, or we can use broad terms. I want to focus on the broad terms because that's going to be more relevant for a lot of you who are actually watching this and getting these little nuggets. So if we're using broad, what we need to be making sure is with Google, we need to make sure that if we're targeting broad, if as an example, you'll say a builder and you put in local builder as broad, you might get some okay results, but what you want to do is give the Google AI as much information as possible. So you want to be adding in a longer tail keyword. So something like local residential builder near or local residential builder in Twickenham. So straight away, we're adding 4, 5, 6 words to create a sentence, which is going to help Google AI. With all of this, what's happening now, we need to make sure we're adding in the right prompts. And this is no different, really. So we're adding in broad terms, and then we're giving Google a bit more information, which is going to be the 4, 5, 6 keywords. They're going to make a sentence, which is going to help Google to find more of what you want anyway as an advertiser. If you I'm not saying that having one or two or three words is not going to get you results, but you're going to get better results if you're adding in longer tail keywords. So that's the first thing I would say. There's 3 steps there. The second thing that we need to be doing, pair your match types together. So I'm not a fan of phrase right now, and I haven't been since last year. I see a lot of accounts still use phrase. That's very kind of a couple of years ago. What we want to do is adapt and change. Don't be stuck in the same things. Try different things. We should be testing to get the very best results for our Google Ads. Pair your match type together, broad and exact. So start off with the way I approach Google is, and again, there's always exceptions to the rules, but for the majority of us, we're going to be adding in 1 or 2 broad to an ad group. Ad groups are based around keyword themes. And then from there, as we get information coming through, we're going to look at the search terms report. We're going to look at the calls that are coming through. We're going to track everything. We're going to add in the terms that are converting as exact terms. Now, the reason we do that is with Google, if we're adding broad and then we add in exact, if we pair them together, Google's AI picks up to 6 different signals once we add in broad, and one of those signals, it looks at the keywords you're targeting in an ad group. So the more information again it looks at, then the more we can provide it, and that's why we're adding in keywords as exact plus the broad that we're potentially adding into the ad groups. And the third part to this is smart bidding. Now, what is smart bidding? Smart bidding is, as an example, if you go from a max click strategy and then you're getting enough data coming through as a benchmark, 10 clicks a day over 30 days. And then from there, we're getting 30 conversions over 30 days. Can be a little bit less, not a problem. Then from there, you want to be changing to max click to a max conversion strategy if you're, say, a lead generation. The reason we do that is because it's tapping into the smart bidding. Smart bidding with all of this works well. If we take a step back and we understand what broad does, smart bidding, broad is the only match type that will pick up 6 signals. One of those is going to be the keyword that you're targeting. Another one's going to be looking at somebody's history, landing pages. It scans your landing pages. By having smart bidding with broad, it gives you the volume. How do we control all of this? We do this by adding negative keywords. So there's a little strategy that is working very, very well right now. And I would suggest if you're not doing that, then you add that into your Google Ads strategy. Now, let's jump into AI. AI doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use it everywhere. It's just an assistant to you. So as an example, you could put a chatbot onto your website and which it will answer questions. Absolutely fine. I speak to chatbots all the time. Absolutely no problem. You can use AI for automations. There's so many different factors that you can use AI to benefit you as a business that if you don't do it, then potentially you're going to be left behind. And 2026 is going to be a big year. So embrace AI as best you can. If you want to have a chat in regards to any of this, then hit me up, message me. If you want me to look at your Google Ads and see, first of all, let's get some stability into the account, and then potentially we can look to scale a Google Ad account. Once you know what to see with a Google Ad account, it's actually relatively simple to scale an account. And then if you scale it, we can sell if there's barriers, and then potentially we can open up another product. So when we're scaling, we're looking at search impression share, we're looking at CPC resistance. If all of that is fine, then we can increase the budget. If it's an issue, then that's when you start looking at adding in a performance max or a demand gen. There's so much more we can do with Google, but we need to have a good understanding of what the data is telling us. Whatever you're doing, Google, do it for a reason. So if you're doing something, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing it because it feels right? Or am I doing it based off of the data? If you're doing it based off the data, then the chances are then you're doing a right decision. If you're not, then it's kind of, you're in no man's land, and then you're kind of guessing. Everything I do in Google is based off of the data. We need to, first of all, launch the ads. We need to make sure the basics, the foundations are there, and then we can do all the nice stuff like scale and stability and evergreen campaigns and getting a good amount of business coming through, and then adding in things like performance max or demand gen, whatever it is you're looking to do with your Google Ads. But we need stability. We need to understand that we need to get the basics right, and then from there we can build on the platform. And remember, we need to be trying to tap into that Google AI, which is the smart bidding, adding in broad. Google is creating the environment. Remember what I said, to have broad within your strategy. Not a lot of people know this, and that's why I'm kind of I've done a few videos on this. I'm spreading the word, and all of my clients, if you're a client of mine, then you'll know this information as well, that we need to be adapting. We need to make sure we're staying on top of all the trends. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, hit me up with them.